is the Prince of Panto and best-loved King of the Jungle who spent the first half of the 70s... The bunnies are leaving, clearly. A watership down going on here. Spent the 70s languishing at Her Majesty's pleasure in this long-running sitcom.
You're not going to escape, are you? It's a good lunch today. We've got jelly.
I was playing ping pong with these two in Gay Gordon. Mixed doubles.
I wish I'd had a mother like you. I might have gone straight.
Or bent.
Lovely. I'll try and get that scented notepaper you asked for.
Of course not, Fletch. I haven't touched your chunks.
My dearest Trevor, all right?
It came out lovely and all.
Please welcome Christopher Biggins. Fondly on the porridge days, Biggins.
Well, that was 1974, can you believe? That dates us all, doesn't it? But what was great about it was working with, and I say this specifically, a comedy actor rather than a comedian, because that's what Ronnie Barker was. And I say that because his generosity was phenomenal. I mean, the scripts were written by Dick Clements and Ian Frene, brilliant scripts. But in rehearsal, if he felt one of his lines was better said by me, he would give it to me. Now, very few comedians would do that.
Yeah.
But he saw the whole picture. And, of course, it's still shown today on various TV stations. And
it's always on. I can always find it on
know.
satellite.
And we don't talk about that, though, because they don't pay us any money.
No, Ground Force was the same.
Yes.
There we are. But it keeps
Not
our
that we're
face.
complaining.
Keeps our face in the corner. Do you know, but what I think a lot of people forget is that you were an extraordinarily good straight actor. I remember you as a very villainous vicar in Poldark.
I know the...
Remember? In Poldark.
Ozzy Whitworth, yes,
Yeah.
the sex-crazed vicar.
Do you miss not being able to do not doing straight acting?
Well, I do and I don't. I mean, I enjoy the stuff that I do. I mean, I've had such a fantastic career. I mean, prior to that, I did Nero and I, Claudius, playing some really nice, juicy parts, you know. But I enjoy doing what I'm doing now, you know, which is good.
Now, tell us about this variety show. They always say variety's dead.
I know. Well, I feel rather ashamed being here because we don't start till August, but the bookings have just opened. So you can go out now. Don't for goodness sake, queue until August. That'll be terrible. We're putting together this show, the Best of British Comedy, and it's a fabulous idea. This is the third year they've done it, and this year we're headlining with the wonderful Crankies, who I think are so fun. Have you ever seen the Crankies live in a theatre?
Fabidabidoozy.
They are brilliant, and she is so incredible.
Jeanette.
Wonderful, wonderful, funny Jeanette. Yeah. She's marvellous. And we've got Paul Daniels doing a bit of magic, the Grumbleweeds, Dana, and Sid Little. And me, and I'm comparing it.
So this really is good old end-of-the-pier British variety.
It is.
In fact, I think you're even kicking off in Blackpool.
We are in Blackpool. Yeah. We go to Blackpool, then we go back again to Blackpool, and we're going all over Basingstoke. We're going... I don't know why I mentioned Basingstoke, but Bournemouth...
Why not? Begins with a B. Blackpool, Basingstoke and Bournemouth.
That's good, yes, exactly. Yes. But no, so it's going to be really good fun, I think. And it's one night all over the place. And go online, you can find out and come and see us.
It's been an incredible career, and it's ducked and dived and nipped and tucked, and you've gone from one thing to the other. Because you'll always be remembered for your stint on Surprise, Surprise with Scylla.
With Scylla, I know. I mean, I can't tell you, when the producer came to see me in pantomime, funnily enough, in Birmingham, and he said to me, took me out and said, I want you to do this show, and it's you with a woman called Cilla Black. I couldn't believe it. She was such a big star.
Yeah.
And, you know, it started a wonderful, wonderful friendship, and still to this day, we're really good friends. But I think that was a wonderful... I love doing Surprise, Surprise. It was marvellous.
I remember talking to you last time you were on about Frank Sinatra, having dinner with him, and it sort of spurred me to thinking about... You mentioned working with Ronnie Barker as a great highlight, because he was a supreme comedian, and there we saw you with another one, David Jason.
Yes.
Of course, you know, you mentioned those two in the same breath because of Open All Hours.
Absolutely.
Who are the people... What are your magic moments so far in your career that you think that was just absolutely the on-song moment and I really loved doing it?
Well, I tell you, you'll find this bizarre, but I think I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here was a really high spot of my career because I tell you why. Because it gave me the... One of the biggest thing about that show is the boredom. You have nothing to do, but it makes you think, and it puts you on a sort of another plane. And when people ask me about it, I say there are three things about that show. One is I loved every moment of it. Two, I would not have missed it for the world. And three, I'd never do it again. Because it's really, really tough. But it did make me, I think, a better person.
What did you learn about yourself?
I learned so much. I don't know whether I can tell you on the afternoon show.
Yeah, you can.
But no, I've always been very good with people, but I think it taught me how to put up with certain people who weren't very nice, i.e. Janice Dickinson, who was an absolutely appalling person. But even so, there were moments when I had on my own with her where you could tell why she was such a horrible person. Yeah. And you could find out. So you learned about things. You learned about yourself, you know, at a certain age when it's nice to know things about yourself.
What did you discover about... Did you discover failings in yourself?
I think I did discover a few failings in myself, absolutely, with people, you know, of not being patient enough. Of not being as good a person as I perhaps should have been.
Because you see, in show business, oh, darling, wonderful, kiss, 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 and off.
Yes.
You don't actually have to stay. When you're in that sort of situation, it's kiss, 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 and I can't go away now.
Absolutely.
I'm stuck here.
You have to stick it out, you know. And there were some really terrible moments, you know, as far as
reality shows like that get great stick. A lot of criticism of people saying it's... I have to say, I don't particularly enjoy watching them much. So it's very interesting that you say you can get something real out of doing it, rather than just the fame that most people go into it.
Yeah, well, that of course, is very nice, but there's a lot more to it. I mean, when you go into that, you have to go and see a psychiatrist before you go in. How some people pass it, I don't know. Because... but anyway, it was very interesting. In fact, I talked to this lovely girl, sounded more about her problems than my problems. But it was interesting because they obviously don't want people to absolutely go mad. And you could so easily go off your rocker in there, you know.
Poor old lad. Well, I'm glad you stuck with it and came out the other end. You actually, of course, had to miss out on Panto that year, which you'd done for 30-odd years.
I know.
You're back in it this year?
I was down in Plymouth. We had the most fantastic season. We broke all box office records. And the nice thing is I've just signed a 3-year deal with probably the biggest pantomime producers in the country called Kudos. And so this whole pantomime we did in Plymouth will now go to Wolverhampton next year, which is fantastic.
So you'll be twankying your way around the country for 3 years?
I will. And how lovely of you to say that.
That's all right. I've always said to myself, nobody twanks better than Christopher Biggins. Ladies and gentlemen, Christopher Biggins.